So I'm going to see today if I can fix a PS3 with a bad disk drive issue using this blade because the cell processor is actually overheating and the disk drive is actually going bad too. So we're going to try to see if we can save this PS3 back compat from its own death, basically. Okay, so we're going to start by unboxing this. Now, I've never used this tool before. I've normally just used the razor blade to delid the processor. Okay, so it comes with a spare blade that I'm going to put in my drawer. And then it comes with the razor blade itself. Okay, so it says I just need to push this on a surface and basically angle it. So there we go. There's the delid tool. So we're going to actually cut the ends off these processor to see if we can get it to work and not overheat. Okay, so we're going to get that out of the way. We're going to get then we're going to remarry the disk drive. We're going to use a different disk drive from a model, if I remember correctly, Geo1. We're going to use this disk drive, which doesn't have a daughter board unlike the other ones do. So, first thing we're going to do is take this all apart, basically. We're going to take it all the way down to the motherboard, and then we're going to add new thermal paste to it and get it back together. I'm going to disconnect it from this side because this disk drive is not going back in. It doesn't read any PS2 games or PS3 or any game in general, basically. And then we're going to replace the cable and we're going to put it into this one. Then when it comes to putting them back together, we already have this cable in here. And it's just going to be easy. So I'm going to okay, let's remove this. And then I'm going to get my iFixit kit. I'm just going to get a big-headed screwdriver. So, I'm going to see if this thing will even work after I delid it. Who knows? Might cut the traces to the processor and just absolute kill it. Hi, Mr. Zachary. We end up killing this one completely. So we're going to pull the power board off. Disconnect ground of the power supply. Okay, we're going to use some tweezers to remove this disk drive ribbon cable. It is broken on this one, but once it's clipped down, it just doesn't affect the use of the console. Okay, now we're going to take it out of its shell. Going to pull the whole console out. No, we're not. We're going to take the hard drive out. And we're going to take this long take the long screw out too. Okay, now we're going to take the whole thing out. And it's caught on something. because it won't come out. Nope, there we go. I'm going to set the shell away, and we're going to take off the back plate with the serial number and stuff on it. Now, this model does have a 19 blade fan, which is disputed to be the more desirable fan because it moves more airflow. But it has a bigger motor, so people say it doesn't cool as efficiently. It really doesn't. I feel like the 19 blade fan is the better fan, and that's what I kind of have realized with working with PS3 back compats, that it's just going to be what it is. Okay, let's take these screws out. Now this one already has a delidded RSX, because I thought that deleting the RSX was going to solve this overheating issue with this particular PS3, but it did not. So we're going to take off the leaf springs. Okay, so now we can take off the top RF shield. Okay, now we're going to flip the board, pull out the spring. We don't have to undo that screw yet. Put these. Now we're going to pull off this giant fan. The big one fan that cools the whole PS3. And as you can see, it's already been delidded, so we pulled off the whole IHS for the RSX too. And just going to clean. We're going to clean the cell side. And then we're going to clean the RSX side. Now we will be deleting another one today. Oh. Okay. Make sure this is clean so when we put it back on we don't need to fold it. Okay. Some more IPA on this cloth and clean off this side. Probably has way too much thermal paste on it, but with these back compat PS3s you really you really just don't want to play games with the cooling. You've already got a defective 90 nanometer. You don't really want to play any other games of Fate with these. Okay, now let's pull off the last part of the RF shielding. I'm going to use a Q-tip to go around this 90 and just clean. There we go. We got all this off. Okay, now we get our delid tool. Okay, hopefully you can still see that. And it does look like you can, because I don't want to put any stress in these 12 volt lines while I'm trying to delid this cell right here. Okay. So I've seen quite a few people actually put some grease on it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give it a tiny little bit of grease. And then we're going to see if we can insert it straight here, and we're going to see if we can run this around without damaging this cell processor at all. Well, we do this. Okay, now we're going to pull down this end, go around the corner, make sure the corner's completely cut. Well, there we go. So to me, it does not look like we did any damage to this cell. So it might be an actual working D-lid. And look how dry that is. That just crumbled away. Now, as I look at this, it looks like half of it is discolored and half of it's not. You might be able to just make it out there, which is pretty crazy. It might be because the IHS sat on it a bit funny, and we're going to remove this out of the shot, and then I need to find another blade. Okay, so now for this to sit as flat as possible, I'm gonna clean the paste off that's underneath it first. And then we're gonna get this razor and we're gonna run it around to remove as much of this silicone glue as we can. So that when we put it on, it gets as close to the die as we can possibly get it. I haven't broken any yet. Give it 5 minutes and I'll break one. Okay, now we're gonna wipe it off again. Okay. Now, we're gonna bring the board back over. And we're gonna get some thermal paste, not flux, which I almost just grabbed and put on there. And we're gonna put a tiny bit on these VRAM chips. I got told you don't need to, but at the same time, I just like to be safe. They're glued on from the factory, so now I'm gonna use this glove to spread around the thermal paste so that when we put the eye chest back on of the cell and stuff, we can make sure that it has full coverage. I'm just going to put the excess on the cell, make sure the cell has enough cooling. And my glove exploded, so that's great. I'm going to put a tiny little dot more, just overkill it. Okay, now we're going to put the IHS back on the cell. And then we're going to make sure the board sits flat, because we don't want to end up shaking these around. I probably should have put the top and bottom RF shields back on. Now we just made it more complicated for ourselves. So we put this one on like this. Let me get the other one. Okay, now we're gonna get the bottom, which I'm gonna suspend in the middle of the air and try to line this up, which isn't too good. Okay, now we obviously see what we didn't want to see, so I'm gonna pull off this R6 again, cell die again, and wipe it off and repaste it. Because of my own stupidity. Yeah, it's too much thermal paste, but like I said, this console's 30 years old. The least I can do is waste a few cents of thermal paste on it. Wipe this back off so it doesn't have any finger oils on it. Oh, I have to take it back apart again. Now, I like to lather the RSX in thermal paste, which is probably way too much. But the same way as the Threadripper and AMD's server chips, I just like to lather it to make sure that we get as much coverage as possible. So there we go. It's on. I'm going to flip it over. Then we're going to put our pennies in. Nah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do the penny trick to add more pressure to the die. So we're going to start these things off to make sure that they ooh. Then I like to screw opposite and then make sure that this so I'm gonna get them snug down. Now you don't want to over tighten them, but I just like to make sure they're pretty much down. Okay. Now we're gonna get our back and we're gonna slide it right in. There you go. Then we're gonna get our bottom piece, bottom end of the shell. I'm gonna place it underneath. I'm gonna wipe out the dust. And then we're gonna place this one right down inside of it. Okay, now I'm gonna grab this long screw and put it over here. And then we're going to put this little clip that holds the power board in right there. And then we're just going to move this across. Now, I like to go the opposite way so I don't thread new holes and strip it to death. And then we're going to put the power board back in. Then we can lay the power board on. Get this little screw. So that's that. And then I'm gonna, that is not good. Put this hard drive in. And, okay, so we got the hard drive in. I'm gonna screw the ground. Actually, I'm gonna get the power supply back in. Okay, plug the 5 volt and 3.3 volt in. Okay, so that's in. Now we're gonna grab our ribbon cable and our disk drive. So we're gonna connect this back to the disk drive. Okay, now this is where it's gonna differ from what you normally should do. You normally just have to put in this cable here, lower the latch, but because this latch is broken, we're gonna have to basically jimmy it in there so it holds it, and then there you go, so it's not coming out. Then you're gonna flip this drive across, back down, and then we're gonna loop this through the front and back to where it belongs, right here. Which, that should be the way. Now we're gonna need to find out where the screws are. And we're gonna start putting in the screws for the case. One goes here. One goes here. here. Really wants this side screwed down. And then I'm going to lift it so I can see, and we're going to put one right here. And then the last one actually goes under the power supply so we can lift it up. It actually goes right here. Okay, that's all the internal screws apart from the top before the slide cover goes in. Okay. That's that. Now we're gonna plug in our Wi-Fi antenna. Screw this in, and then we're gonna plug in our power supply, which I'm just gonna bring it over here. And I'm just gonna put in the two back screws. To connect them all the way up. Okay, now I put in the two back screws which go here and here. Now I'm just gonna attach the three front screws for the power supply because you need 5 screws for a power supply, I guess. Not 4, 5. Then here again. Right here. Trying to put it into the wrong spot now. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is flip it up. Up is released. If I remember correctly, up is released. And then down is locked in. Yep. Okay, now gotta pull this antenna wire out the way without breaking it out the way. Then get that in. Run that across, and now we can screw down this board. Which is the Wi-Fi board. This connects to the back to add Wi-Fi. And there's only one model of PS3 made without Wi-Fi, and that's the BO1, which has a black front. Okay, so that's that. Then we're just gonna get the Wi-Fi card reader. not the Wi-Fi card reader, the card reader. Gonna push it in, latch it in. There we go, and this one doesn't need screwed in, it will actually be held on by the case itself. So I'm gonna be quickly grab this. Okay, so we do get a red light still. No. Whoa! How to break stuff 101. I'm gonna get this cable. Plug the HDMI in. Okay. So now we're gonna get our controller. We're gonna use an authentic 6-axis right here. Gonna plug it into the front, one of 4 USB ports, which is a distinct feature on all of the backwards compatible models. Then I'm gonna change my TV to input 1. And I'm gonna add the now let's flip this up so it can easily be pulled out. So I'm going to break out this screwdriver. Now let's pull this out. One, two, three. Okay. Put the power supply screws over here. And there we go. Pull the power supply off. And then this should be able to stay in place, this antenna wire. We are not going to be undoing so now if I disconnect this drive, and I'm gonna unconnect it from here, so when I come back to reconnect it, I don't have to play with that broken connector again. So pull this one. Take out the hard drive before. Okay, now I'm just gonna disconnect the front port and pull up and then flip it around. We see we've left a very critical thing unplugged. Now we're gonna reattach the battery connector too, so we can keep time. Then we're gonna put it back in, and now I'm gonna put all those screws back in. I'm gonna put one in here. One small one goes in here. If it that is not good. One seems to have stripped. Well, hopefully the other ones don't meet the same fate. Those are the wrong screws. There we go. If you hear that little thunk, that's the screw falling right in place. Oop, not this one. So now I'm moving this. I'm gonna move this and get back to these. I'm gonna put the power board back in for the second time. Connect the little ribbon that goes to the power board. And then we're gonna re-secure this power board. Then we're gonna get this one and re-secure it in again. Okay, so this is still connected, so I'm just gonna slide this power supply right on in. And then put that in. Gonna reach over here, grab this one screw. Yep, then we're gonna reconnect the power. And tuck it underneath the plastic. We're gonna get 3 in the front of the power supply to hold the power supply down. I don't know why there's 3 in here, but as I mentioned last time, that's Sony's infinite wisdom. It's 3 screws in the power supply. 5, sorry. 3 in the front, 2 in the back. Just the way Zach likes it. Okay, now let's do that. Okay, there we go. That's reconnected. And now we're gonna reattach the card reader. Now we're gonna get the disk drive back. No, you didn't, Zachary. I don't know what you heard. Now, we can finally test it for the second time. Once we had the drive back in. That will be 2 seconds. So now we're going to see if we can actually get it on the... Whoops. Okay, for some reason the Elgato can't see that. Um, Capture device. There we go. Now you can actually see the PS3. Okay, so we're in firmware 4.7. And what we're going to do is we're going to connect Ethernet to this console. And we're going to jailbreak it. After jailbreaking it, we're going to remarry this disk drive. There we go. Are you impressed, Zachary, by my capture of a DHCP PS3? Does have internet connection? Let's see if I can access PS3 tools. Let's press triangle. History, PS3 tools. Okay. Nope, I'm gonna have to update the console. Okay, let's go to system. And then we're gonna go to internet and update. And then it's gonna find the newest, the newest 492. Now, it doesn't sound too loud right now. I'm gonna go grab a test disk, and I'm gonna see if this will eject. So I'm gonna quickly. That's so weird. Does it pick up anymore? No, so it's only picking up my microphone if I'm in. It was me because my microphone's only picking up if I'm in this screen showing this. Uh, maybe because. No. No, I just somehow deleted it out of that one. I just had to delete out of one. But you surprised that I got it to record a PS3, even though it has DHCP enabled? So you technically can't record off of a PS3. Also, I chose the games for you. I chose the Genesis Collection, Shadow the Hedgehog, and NASCAR, because that's the only the only game I got that's PS1. My good old PS1. Why? I thought you said it's a terrible game. I don't have time to play games. I only have time to fix consoles. I'm gonna go and grab the top lid for this PlayStation right now. It's the most mediocre game that's ever mediocred. Okay, now I'm gonna add the top cover back to this beast. There we go. Whoa. She may be fat, but she's a beaut. I wonder if I can even put a disc in there. What do you think it'd do? Huh. Maybe this disk drive's a bit fucker too. She's a bit depressed. She doesn't have a door. There you go. Just put the top on her, and we'll pretend that. We'll pretend. Okay, now we can go and see how many millions of hours. Go to triangle, history, PS3 toolset. Now actually tries to load. Okay, here we are. Okay, let's go to the home page. Sorry, system manager. Okay, now we're gonna jailbreak this thing, and we're gonna basically downgrade it to rebug. Okay, now we're gonna go here, and we're gonna go load HTTP. Bye bye. Load the patch. Okay. So this has 167-day uptime. Okay, now we're gonna see if we can jailbreak this thing. Okay, now we're gonna go over to update, and we're gonna close. And then we're gonna go some media. Hmm. There you go, PS3. Hmm. Come on, Zachary. Data is corrupted! I hope not, but there we go. Now we have a data corrupted screen. I don't know what the control went. Nope, there we go. PLS pre-HM button. I'm pressing it. There we go. Turn this off. Hmm. Hmm. Okay, this is going into a rabbit hole. So I'm gonna end for now, and then